Welcome back, students. This is the video for Standard 9. The chapter is Tissues. In this chapter, we will discuss about what are the different types of plants and animal tissues and what are the functions that they carry out. To start with, first we will know what is a tissue. What is tissue? Tissues are the group of similar cells which perform a specific function. Now in plants, there are two basic groups of tissues. One is meristematic and one is permanent. Now what is the difference between them? Meristematic tissues are the tissues in which the cells are in a state of active division, but permanent tissues are those ones in which the cells are not in a state of active division. Means they have been specified with a permanent structure and a permanent function. Now coming to the next point, in case of meristematic tissues, the cells are living. The cells have a large nucleus, and what they do, they are having thin cell wall. But in case of permanent tissues, the cells they may either be living or they may be dead. And these cells, they have a thick cell wall. And what else? The cells are larger in size. Then they may be thin walled or thick walled, both, because some are living, some are dead. So these are the some of the specific differences between meristematic and permanent tissues. Now further, in your textbook, some characteristics are given about the meristematic tissues. You will go through them. Next we come to the different types of meristematic tissues. You will see, children, here I have made a flow chart. Meristematic tissues are further classified into apical, intercalary and lateral based on their location. Apical meristematic tissues, these are the tissues, the cells are located in the apex of roots and stem. Intercalary meristem, these are the tissues in which the cells are located, the region at which the leaves arise from the branches. And lateral meristem, these are located in the bark region, in the sidewise part of the bark. So based on their location, apical meristem is responsible for the growth of the tips of the root and shoot. Intercalary meristem, it helps in the lengthening of the stem. Specific organs are lengthened. And lateral meristem, that leads to the widening of the stem. Coming to permanent tissues, the first group of permanent tissues, they are protective, then supportive, then conducting. Protective tissues, as the name suggests, they will protect the internal parts of the plant. So these permanent tissues, they are found, these are the epidermal tissues of the stem, of the bark, or in the leaves, the epidermal cells. All these are protective tissues. Coming to supportive tissues, they are further, as the name suggests, they will provide support and rigidity to the plant. So they are of three types: parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma. These three different types of cells, they have the differences in their structure, the composition of the cell wall, their function, also on their location. So parenchyma, these are the living cells having very thin wall, and they are, where are they located? They are specially located in the soft parts of the plant. And what is their function? They help in the storage of food, and of course their specific function is support. Coming to collenchyma, these are the cells in which the cells are elongated and thickened at their corners. And these cells, what they contain, the corners are thick and their location is in the leaf stalk and in the below the epidermis of the stem. And what is their function? They provide support to the plant body. Sclerenchyma, these are the dead cells. The cell wall is very thick, and these cell wall, it is thickened and it consists of a deposition of lignin. Okay, contains the deposition of a protein which is called lignin. Now this sclerenchyma cells, as they provide the strength to the plant part, and they are found in the stems and veins of the leaves. Children, these three, parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, please prepare the notes regarding the differences based on their cell shape, based on their cell wall, based on their living or dead condition, and location as well as function. Coming to conducting tissues, this one you know very well. The conducting tissues, they help in the conduction of water and minerals as well as prepared food. So there are two groups of conducting tissues. One is xylem and one is phloem. This you have already read up to class 8 much in detail. Again you will go on reading this till standard 10. So xylem, what is that? These are the cells. These are the group of cells which help in the conduction of water and minerals from the roots to the aerial parts of the plant. Now this consists of 4 different components. That is, what are the components of xylem, children? That is tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. What is the specific feature of the xylem cells? The cells are mostly dead and hence they have thick walls. Then the direction of movement is only in the upward direction. Next come to phloem. This again, these are the group of cells which are mostly living, and it also consists of 4 components, that is sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. And what is the function of these phloem cells? They help in the conduction of prepared food. That is, the term which is used is called translocation, and they help in the movement of this prepared food both in the upward as well as in the downward direction, also in the sideward direction. So the xylem and phloem tissues, they are responsible for conduction. So these are the different types of tissues which are present in a plant body. Now you see in your textbook, children, the phloem cells, one diagram is given. This is very, very important. You practice this diagram, labeling as well as diagram. It is also given in your assignment. Now coming to the animal tissues. So what is that animal tissue? As in plant tissue, the group of cells performing specific functions. Like that, in animal tissues also, the different groups of cells perform a specific function. And the schematic presentation of animal tissues is, animal tissues, they are classified into, see, number 1, what is that? Number 1 is the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Now number 2, what is that? Number 2, that is the connective tissue. Then we come to next broad category, muscular tissue, and finally we have the nervous tissue. So this animal tissues are broadly classified into 4 groups: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. To start with, epithelial tissues, these are the tissues which consists of the cells that form the covering of the external part of the body as well as covers the internal organs of the body. So this forms the epidermis or the outermost layer. Now this epithelial tissues, they are again classified into different types. What are they? Number 1, squamous epithelium. Number 2, stratified epithelium. Number 3, cuboidal epithelium. Number 4, columnar epithelium. Number 5, ciliated columnar epithelium. And the last one, glandular epithelium. Now what are the different names used for based on their functions? First one, squamous epithelium. This all epithelial tissues, children, you will read their location and function. You can see in your textbook, see here, epithelial tissues, the common location is it covers the surface of the body and lines the various body cavities and internal organs. This is the normal, the common function or location of epithelial tissue and function of epithelial tissues. And what is their this is the location, children, the outermost layer of skin. Shape is this, and function is, as they are forming the outermost covering, their function is they help in protection, absorption, secretion, sensory perception. Please underline all these and learn it by heart. Coming to squamous epithelium, again you will find where is the location? Lining the mouth and nasal cavities, blood vessels and lymph vessels. The function is again, it is protective in function. And next comes stratified epithelium, found in the skin and cornea. Cuboidal epithelium, it is form lining of the kidney tubules and glandular ducts. Columnar epithelium, it forms the covering or lining of the stomach and intestine. So all these location and common function is protection and secretion. Coming to ciliated columnar epithelium. The ciliated columnar epithelium, children, they are located in the walls of their respiratory tract. So if these are the cells, these are the columnar cells which are lining the windpipe. Then from here, this hair-like structures will come out. They are called cilia. What they do, when the wind passes inside, then they prevent the entry of germs or dust particles into the lungs. This is the function of ciliated columnar epithelium. You can see here ciliated columnar epithelium. So where is the location of that ciliated columnar epithelium? These are located in the lining of the trachea, and function is they keep lashing and move the materials which enter into these regions. These regions means into the tracheal pipe and ultimately into the lungs. Now glandular epithelium, as the name suggests, these are the epithelial cells which surrounds the glands, sweat gland, tear glands or the liver, and function is they help in the protection and secretion of these glands. Coming to connective tissues, what is that connective tissues? The tissues which binds, it is the binding tissue. So that is connective tissue. Now these connective tissue, the characteristic features are given: abundance of intercellular substance, few cellular elements and fibers. These tissues are again classified into three groups: connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue and fluid connective tissue. Connective tissue proper, what does it do? It serves for packing and binding the organs. Packing tissues. Supportive connective tissues give support to the body. Fluid connective tissue, these are the blood and lymph, the different fluids which connects the different organs of the body. Coming to the first one, connective tissue proper, these are classified into, you see, areolar tissue, adipose tissue and fibrous connective tissue. Areolar tissue, again location and function, where it is found beneath the epidermis of skin. Function is makes the skin elastic, so that when you pull your hand, you might have seen when you pull your skin, then it can be pulled because of this presence of areolar tissue. Coming to adipose tissue, this is the fat depositing tissue which is present under the skin, and they are present under the skin. This is the location around the kidneys and eyeball, and function is it stores the fat. Then come to the fibrous connective tissue. This is also the function of adipose tissue, padding under the skin and acts as insulation for retaining body heat, so that the heat from our body cannot be released out because of the presence of this adipose tissue. Coming to fibrous connective tissue, fibrous, as the name suggests, this tissue consists of cells which are called fibers, and these fibers are bundled together by the help of this areolar tissue, because areolar tissue is the packaging tissue. Now this fibrous connective tissue, it is of two types, that is tendons and ligaments. And what is the location of these tendons and ligament? The tendons between the bones and muscles. Function is they connect the muscles to the bones, and ligaments, they are located between the two bones. Function is they connect the bone to bone and keep the bones in position, and they provide some strength to the bones. Now you see here, children, there are some diagrams given here. Connective, fibrous connective tissue, this is cartilage and this is bone. These three diagrams are important, children. Please practice them, labeling practice, and diagram also you practice. This is the fibrous connective tissue. You see here cells are there. There are fibers in between, and this is the ground substance, that is the matrix. Now coming to the next type of tissue, next type of epidermal tissues. We are discussing about now epithelial tissues. Next type of epithelial tissues is supportive connective tissue. This supportive connective tissue, they are of two types, cartilage and bone. Cartilage, these are the flexible structures they are flexible, they are elastic, they are soft, and bones, they are hard, they are non-flexible, non-elastic. There are some differences between cartilages and bones, children. What are the differences? First point, they are flexible, they are not flexible, they are soft and elastic, they are hard, they are not porous, they are porous, they do not contain the blood vessels and nerves, but bone contains the blood vessels and nerves. The cartilage cells are called chondrocytes. What are they called? They are called chondrocytes. Chondrocytes. These are chondrocytes. Cartilage cells are chondrocytes. Bone cells are osteocytes. This is also one difference. Then again, the cartilages, what they have, these cartilages, they do not contain the cartilages they do not the bones, they grow in both the directions, but cartilage in one single direction. Then this bone, they form the entire skeletal structure of our body, but these cartilages, they are only found in specific locations like the tip of the nose, the external ear, then in between the vertebrae, at the end of the long bones. Okay, so that is the location of the cartilages. So like this, there are few differences between bones and cartilages that you have to learn properly. Okay, then we come to the next one more important point regarding bone and cartilages. Bones contain a deposit of calcium salts, but in case of cartilages, there is no deposits of calcium salts. So these are the few differences. Next we come to fluid connective tissue. As the name suggests, this connective tissue, it is fluid in nature, blood and lymph. Blood, you have read, children, already that it is the liquid part of the body which helps in transportation of nutrients and waste materials in the body. Now the liquid part of the blood is plasma. In the plasma, these cellular components RBC, WBC and platelets, they keep on floating and they carry out their specific functions. RBC function, you know, they contain the red coloring pigment called hemoglobin, which help in the transportation of oxygen. White blood cells, they do not contain hemoglobin, and their function is they act as the soldiers of the body, fighting against the germs, invading germs. And platelets, these are the minute cells which are non-nucleated, irregular in shape, and their function is they help in blood clotting. So these three diagrams also you will practice, children. This is red blood cell, biconcave circular disc shape. Mature red blood cells are non-nucleated. This is the white blood cell. This is nucleated. Nucleus is divided into several lobes. White blood cells are of two groups, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Agranulocytes are again of two types, lymphocytes and monocytes. Granulocytes are of three types, that is neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils. So these are the white blood cells. Ultimate function is they help in protection of the body against the invading germs and produce antibodies also. Coming to this, our platelets, they help in blood clotting. Clear? Now we come to lymph. What is this? This is again a fluid which is surrounding the body cells. So this one, when you might have been taught about the circulatory system, there it is discussed that when the blood from this organs, from this capillaries, when the different nutrients are transmitted into the body cells, then from the body cells the waste materials are taken back into the capillaries and finally released into the veins. At the same time, some amount of materials along with the nutrients are also passed into another group of vessels which are called lymph. So this lymph, what does it contain? It contains the blood plasma, but they do not contain the red blood cells. They contain white blood cells, but no red blood cells are there. So this blood and lymph, what they do? They help in the transportation of the nutrients all over the body, and this lymph, they also provide immunity against the diseases. So these are the functions of blood and lymph. Now coming to next tissue in animals, that is muscle tissue. Muscle tissues you have already read in your previous classes, children. Basically divided into three groups: striated, unstriated and cardiac muscles. Striated muscles, the other name is skeletal muscle. Unstriated are also called smooth muscles, and heart muscles, they are the cardiac muscles. Now this skeletal muscles, they are having cross striations, alternate light and dark band. Their structure is they are cylindrical in shape, nucleated, and their function is they are voluntary in function. According to our will, they will act. What about unstriated muscles, children? They are smooth. They are called smooth muscles and they do not have the cross striations. Alternate light and dark bands are not there. Then their function is involuntary. And where they are located? The striated muscles, they are attached to the skeletal muscles. So attached to our bones. So they are called skeletal. But unstriated muscles, they are located in our internal organs like in our stomach, in our intestine, in our esophagus. So they are what they are called involuntary, because their function cannot be controlled by our will. And cardiac muscle, they are located in the walls of the heart. Function, striated muscles, as I already told you, they help in the function of voluntary actions. And unstriated muscles, they carry out all the involuntary actions in our body. And cardiac muscle, they help in the beating of the heart. There is one more point of difference. Striated muscle, they undergo fatigueness, tiredness very fast. Unstriated muscle, they get tired, but they get tired very slowly. And cardiac muscle, they do not fatigue at all. So these are the differences. And diagrams are given, children, here. These are the striated muscles, cylindrical in shape, nucleated. These are smooth muscle, spindle shape. These are the cardiac muscle, again cylindrical, but they are branched. Now this striated muscles, you see, they are multinucleated. Unstriated muscle, uninucleated, and cardiac muscles are also uninucleated. This may be one more difference. Now nervous tissue, children, you have read so many times. This is one single nerve cell which is called neuron, and the parts are, this part is the cyton or perikaryon, and this elongated part is the axon. So from this cyton, finger-like projections come out which are called dendrons. At the tip, the dendrons undergo division, branching. These are called dendrites. And one of the dendrons that elongate to form the axon. This is called axon fiber. Now this axon fiber, it is protected or it is prevented from jumping of the signal from one neuron to other by this deposition of fatty deposit, which is called myelin sheath. Now this myelin sheath, it is again surrounded by the neurilemma. You can see here neurilemma. This is the outermost boundary of this axon, and in between the myelin sheath that is discontinuous, that is called node of Ranvier. So, and at the end, this axon divides into two branches, that is called axon ending. So this is the structure of the nervous tissue. You please practice the diagram along with the labelings. And what is the function of the nervous tissue, children? The function is, see here, you can find out the function of nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is concerned with perception and response of animals. So whatever heat, cold, or touch or pain you are feeling, that is because of the presence of this nervous tissue in the skin, in the sensory organs. So with this, we come to an end of this chapter, children. Now coming to the exercise part, you can see here, these are all these things you will find in the book. All the answers are there. You can very easily find out. Name the kind of tissue also you can do. Still then I have done it for you. You can see, you can take the screenshot and you can note down the answers. Now coming to this, give one word, try to do it yourself. Name one place, that is location of these tissues. Also you can do it for yourself. Next, come to this part, children. Here, the difference between question, you please try to write down from this part one point only, basically definition. From here you can write many points. I think in my video I have already discussed so many points. Using them you can listen to that part once again and you can write down. In each one you can write at least 4 to 5 points. Now coming to structure based question, this is the diagram for the phloem tissue. There is a question, children. See here, identify the tissue and give a reason. What is the tissue? First you will write down it is the complex tissue. What is the reason? Because there are different types of cells performing the same function. And here in this picture, it is a phloem tissue because there is the presence of this sieve plate. Then there are the questions, name the parts labeled. You can do that. Where is this tissue likely to be found? I have written, children. You can see leaves, stem, in the leaves, In almost every parts of the plant you will find phloem, because it is transporting food to the different parts. Main function of the parts 1, 2, 3 and 4 you will find out, children, in the book. Everything is there. Coming to this diagram, structure based question, this is very, very simple, children. All the parts are very clearly given in your book. Where is this likely to be found? Here you will write down, it is likely to be found in the nervous system of the human body. Okay, now please, in your text, in your copy, I think this is already given in your assignment in the website. Still then, these questions you write down in your copy. Difference between question 1, question 2, structure based question E number 1 and 2 in your copy. With this, we come to an end of this chapter. Thank you for hearing.